If you're enjoying this deep dive, please like this video and subscribe to Crypto Analytica for more.
Yeah.
Today we are going to be talking about Mantle Network and its native token MNT to see if this project is a worthy investment or not.
Mantle Network is a layer 2 scaling solution built on top of Ethereum.
Okay.
And it was launched in July of 2023.
So it's been around for a little while now.
Yeah.
And what's it trying to do? What problems is it trying to solve?
It's trying to provide faster and cheaper transactions
Okay.
while still leveraging the security of Ethereum.
So if Ethereum's that slow, expensive highway, Mantle's like the express lane.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Yeah.
And what's driving its adoption? What's making people interested in using it?
I'd say one key factor is its modular design, which allows developers to pick and choose the components that they need, making it highly adaptable.
So it's very flexible.
Yeah, it utilizes optimistic rollups, which is a technology that bundles transactions off-chain to increase processing speed and reduce fees.
Okay, and how much cheaper are we talking here?
It results in gas fees that are up to 80% lower than Ethereum's.
Wow, that's significant.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something else before we started recording about liquid staking.
Yeah.
Can you explain how that works with Mantle?
Mantle integrates liquid staking,
Yeah.
which allows users to earn rewards while their assets are being used to secure the network.
Oh, so you're making money while also helping to keep the network secure.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. So that's
Yeah.
Mantle, the network itself, but what about MNT, the token?
So MNT is crucial to the Mantle ecosystem.
Right.
It's used for paying gas fees, participating in governance decisions,
Okay.
and securing the network through staking.
So it's got a lot of utility. It's not just a speculative token.
Right, and you can also earn rewards through different initiatives,
Oh, like what?
like the reward station.
Okay.
You can stake MNT to earn Cook tokens through that.
Interesting. So it sounds like MNT has a pretty interesting history. It wasn't always Mantle's token, right?
You're right. It was originally the BIT token for BitDAO,
BitDAO, right? What's BitDAO?
which is a decentralized autonomous organization.
Okay.
And in June 2023, BitDAO rebranded to Mantle.
Makes sense.
And the BIT token was swapped one-to-one for MNT.
So everyone who held BIT got MNT.
Exactly.
And what did that transition mean for Mantle? What did it bring to the table?
Well, it brought a substantial treasury to Mantle.
Okay.
It's currently valued at over $2.5 billion,
Wow.
making it the fourth largest among all Layer 2 solutions.
That's pretty impressive. So it's not just about the tech. There's also some serious financial backing here.
Yeah, and that's not the only advantage that came from that transition. Mantle also inherited the backing of Bybit.
Bybit, the exchange.
Yeah, the third largest cryptocurrency exchange.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that adds a lot of credibility and accessibility for users.
Exactly.
So we've established that Mantle has solid foundation and a growing ecosystem, but I think the question that's on everyone's mind is, should they invest in MNT?
Yeah, that's the big question.
So for this part of the deep dive, I'm going to be playing devil's advocate, and I'm going to argue for investing in MNT. And you're going to highlight the potential downsides and maybe some alternative options.
Got it.
All right, so starting with the case for MNT, one thing that really stands out to me is the strong backing that it enjoys.
Oh.
That substantial treasury from BitDAO, coupled with the ongoing support from Bybit, provides a lot of financial stability and resources for development. It's not like some of these other projects that are just starting from scratch with a small team and limited funding.
True, but we have to acknowledge the competition in the Layer 2 space.
Okay.
Mantle faces some pretty stiff competition from established projects like Arbitrum and Optimism.
Yeah.
Each of those has significantly larger ecosystems and user bases.
So it's a crowded field.
Yeah.
And how does Mantle stack up against these competitors?
Like Arbitrum, for example, currently has a TVL of over $5 billion.
Okay.
That's more than 3 times that of Mantle's $1.38 billion as of today.
As of today, January 7, 2025. So yeah, that's a significant difference. But while the competition is definitely fierce, I think Mantle presents a really compelling solution to Ethereum's scalability issues. You know, they're attracting users and developers who are seeking faster and more affordable transactions. And we're seeing evidence of that in the growth of the ecosystem,
Okay.
with partnerships like the one with Rarible,
Yeah.
which is a popular NFT marketplace,
Right.
and the launch of Merchant MO, which is a decentralized exchange built on Mantle. These are key players in the crypto space, and the fact that they're choosing to partner with Mantle suggests that they see the potential, and that could drive further adoption and potentially lead to an increase in demand for MNT.
While that growth is encouraging, Investors should keep in mind that Mantle's success is tied to the performance of Ethereum.
Right.
If Ethereum successfully resolves its own scalability issues, or if it loses its dominance, Mantle's relevance might diminish.
That's a good point. So Mantle's future is somewhat dependent on factors outside of its control.
Yeah, and another potential obstacle is the bridging process. Bridging assets to Mantle, which is the process of transferring tokens from other blockchains, can be complex.
Yeah, it can be a hassle.
Yeah, and this could hinder wider adoption, at least in the short term.
Okay, so ease of use is a factor here.
Yeah, this is in contrast to projects like Optimism, which boast more user-friendly bridging solutions and have seen greater adoption as a result.
So they've made it easier for people to get on board. But let's focus on Mantle's growth. Since its launch, in just over a year, it's become the fourth largest Layer 2 by TVL. That's a pretty impressive climb. And that, combined with its expanding network of partnerships, suggests increasing traction. And as more users come on board, the demand for MNT could rise, which could lead to price appreciation.
It's possible, but you also have to factor in the circulating supply.
Okay,
Over 50% of MNT is already in circulation.
so that's a relatively high percentage.
Yeah, and that could potentially create some selling pressure in the future and limit potential price increases.
Okay, so supply and demand dynamics are at play here. But even with that in mind, let's not forget about MNT's inherent utility within the ecosystem. This isn't just a meme coin or a speculative asset.
Yeah.
It's actually used for things like paying gas fees, participating in governance, and securing the network. All of that contributes to its inherent value.
That's true. But the complexity of bridging assets might deter some users,
Yeah, I get that.
especially when compared to a project like Arbitrum that's focused on user experience.
So ease of use is a recurring theme here.
Yeah.
But Mantle is working on making those bridging options easier, and they've already integrated liquid staking, which allows users to earn passive income while holding MNT. And that passive income potential provides an incentive to hold the token and contributes to its overall value.
While that's attractive, it's important to assess the overall risk.
Right.
Because a relatively new ecosystem like Mantle's faces challenges in attracting a wider range of users and developers.
Sure, so there's some uncertainty about its long-term viability.
Yeah, this is in contrast to a project like Polygon,
How?
which has a much more mature ecosystem, diverse range of applications, and a large user base. So potentially a safer bet for investors who are looking for something more established.
Okay, so you're saying Polygon might be a less risky option. But let's look at Mantle's performance metrics.
Okay.
It's consistently ranked among the top Layer 2s in terms of TVL, revenue, and transaction volume. Those are pretty solid indicators of its success so far.
They are, but you got to compare them to other Layer 2s.
Okay, fair enough. Give me an example.
So for example, Base, the Layer 2 launched by Coinbase, has already surpassed even Arbitrum in terms of profitability.
Okay, so they're making more money.
Yeah, this suggests that while Mantle is doing well, it's still behind some of its competitors in key areas.
Okay, but Mantle's strong revenue generation with a relatively small user base implies high revenue per user. That indicates efficiency and potentially strong future growth as its user base expands.
That's one way to interpret the data.
Okay, how else could you interpret it?
Well, the backing of a major exchange like Coinbase, which is behind Base, can't be ignored.
Right?
Bybit, while it's the third largest, still lags behind Coinbase in terms of market influence and user base.
So that could potentially limit Mantle's growth compared to Base.
Right.
It's fascinating to see how these Layer 2s with exchange backing are performing. We've got BNB Chain, launched by Binance, boasts a substantial DeFi ecosystem.
Yeah.
And then there are criticisms about centralization.
Right.
But OKX, the fourth largest exchange, is backing XLayer.
Yeah, which is a ZK rollup-based Layer 2.
Right. And how's that doing?
It's in its very early stages, still has limited TVL.
Okay, and what about Kronos?
Kronos, launched by Crypto.com, hasn't really gained much traction.
So not all exchange-backed Layer 2s are created equal.
Right, and Kraken, the sixth largest exchange, is actually planning to launch its own Layer 2 called Ink.
Inc.
Yeah, in early 2025.
So the competition is only going to get more intense.
Yeah.
So just to recap some of the key data points for Mantle. Its current TVL is $1.38 billion. It's ranked around 35th by market cap.
Yeah.
And MNT is currently trading at $1.29.
Right.
So those numbers paint a decent picture, but they're not mind-blowing.
Yeah, comparing those figures to Arbitrum and Optimism shows that Mantle still has a long way to go.
Okay, but it's off to a promising start. And one thing that I find particularly intriguing about Mantle is its approach to community governance and its close ties to Bybit. Those two factors could play a really significant role in its future as a Layer 2 solution.
That raises a good question for potential investors. Could Mantle's community and its relationship with Bybit actually provide that competitive edge against those established players?
That's something we're going to explore in more detail in the next part of our deep dive, so make sure you stay tuned for that. We've talked about Mantle's technology and its place in the market, but what about the team behind it? A strong team can make a big difference, especially in crypto.
Yeah, for sure. Mantle's roots are in BitDO, which was known for attracting some top people from the crypto industry. So that expertise has carried over to Mantle, giving them a lot of experience in blockchain development and decentralized governance.
And we can't forget Bybit,
Right.
a major player in the crypto exchange world. Their resources and their network could really help Mantle grow.
Definitely. Beyond the core team, though, Mantle has a really active community of developers and contributors shaping the project.
So it's a community-driven project.
Yeah, and that kind of community support is so valuable, especially for a young project in such a fast-changing environment like crypto.
It's also worth noting Mantle's commitment to transparency.
Yeah.
Their code is open source and available on GitHub for anyone to see. So people can check it out, contribute to it, which builds trust and credibility.
Absolutely. Speaking of community, Mantle's governance system actually lets MNT holders take part in decision-making.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so they can make proposals for allocating treasury funds, upgrading the network, and shaping the project's roadmap.
So holding MNT isn't just about potential profits. It's about having a say in the project's future.
Yeah.
This active community involvement can really drive innovation and adoption.
And their governance model is designed to be really inclusive.
Okay.
So all token holders, no matter how much they have, can voice their opinions.
I like that. It seems like Mantle is really in line with the broader trend of decentralization in crypto.
For sure.
Users are looking for projects that give them more control over their assets and a voice in how things are run.
Yeah, and that trend toward decentralization is likely to keep growing as crypto matures.
So Mantle seems to be well positioned for that future.
I think so, with that strong community, transparent governance, and open source development.
But let's not forget about the risks.
Right.
As we said before, competition is intense, and Mantle's up against some big players.
For sure.
But they have advantages.
Yeah.
Firstly, the close ties to Bybit give them financial backing and marketing muscle that many competitors don't have.
Right.
And their focus on liquid staking with Math could attract users who want passive income on their crypto holdings. And don't forget about the potential for future airdrops.
Right.
As Mantle grows, they might give away new tokens to MNT holders.
Like Cosmos did.
Exactly, which has worked well for other projects.
Yeah.
But we should be realistic.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee that Mantle will overcome all of its challenges or that MNT will go up in value.
Right. Crypto investments are always risky, and there are never any guarantees.
Yeah, the crypto market is still young, and it's impossible to predict who the winners and losers will be. But I think Mantle has a solid foundation and a compelling vision.
I agree with that. They're tackling a real problem, have a strong team, and are executing their plan well.
So to sum it up, Mantle Network is a promising Layer 2 solution with the potential to really shake things up in the Ethereum ecosystem.
It offers faster and cheaper transactions, a robust governance model, and a growing number of dApps.
But it's important to remember the risks,
Yeah.
the competition, and how unpredictable the crypto market can be.
Definitely. Before investing in MNT or any crypto, you have to do your research.
What?
Understand the project and know how much risk you're comfortable with.
This deep dive is hopefully giving you the information you need to make a more informed decision.
Yeah, and now let's switch gears and look at something else that's important. The overall global economy.
Okay, so how do global economic trends impact the crypto market?
Well, crypto doesn't exist in a bubble.
Right.
Things happening globally can have a big impact on its performance.
So what's happening globally that we should be aware of?
Right now, we're seeing high inflation and rising interest rates.
Okay.
And this pushes investors to look for alternative assets that might protect them against inflation. Cryptocurrencies, with their limited supply and decentralized nature, are starting to be seen as a potential hedge.
So this economic backdrop could actually be good for cryptocurrencies like MNT.
Potentially, yes. But it's super important to remember that crypto is still relatively new and very volatile.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that.
Right. It's heavily influenced by what investors are feeling, and that can change quickly based on news and economic trends.
So even if things look good for crypto right now, we should still be cautious.
Exactly. Be prepared for price swings.
That's good advice for any investment.
Absolutely. So, to come back to our main question, should you invest in MNT?
After hearing all of the arguments, for and against, I have to say you've made a strong case for being cautious.
I appreciate that. While Mantle has a lot of good things going for it,
Mm-hmm.
the competition and the inherent risks of crypto are things you just can't ignore.
I'm less certain about MNT than I was before we started this discussion.
That's what's great about these deep dives.
Yeah.
It's about exploring different viewpoints and questioning what we think we know.
I think I'm convinced that, for now at least, a cautious approach to MNT is the way to go.
That sounds prudent.
Yeah, more research and keeping a close eye on Mantle's progress is needed before I make a final decision.
I think that's a good conclusion. It highlights something really important for our viewers.
What's that?
Never invest based only on hype or speculation.
Right? Always do your research, think about the risks, and make informed decisions that match your investment goals.
Exactly. Now let's dive into something specific about Mantle that's gotten attention.
Okay.
Their approach to community governance.
Okay, yeah. That seems to set Mantle apart. How does it compare to other layer 2s?
Well, it's rooted in Mantle's history as BitDAO.
Hmm.
BitDAO is known for its decentralized way of governing, giving token holders a lot of influence.
So that carried over to Mantle.
Yeah.
So MNT holders really have a say in how things go.
Absolutely. They can propose and vote on a wide range of decisions, from using the treasury to the technical direction of the platform.
That's pretty unique, isn't it?
It is. A lot of other layer 2s are more centralized, where a small group makes most of the decisions.
That makes Mantle's approach pretty appealing for people who believe in decentralization.
Exactly. It gives M&T holders a sense of ownership and lets them actively shape the future of the platform. And that can lead to a more engaged and loyal community.
But are there any downsides to giving the community so much power? Could it slow things down or make it hard to reach agreement?
Those are valid concerns. Decentralized governance can be less efficient than centralized models. It requires more coordination and agreement, which can take time.
So there's a trade-off between speed and community involvement.
To some degree, yes, but I think Mantle's team has found a good balance.
Okay.
They've got clear processes for proposing and voting on ideas, and they've fostered a culture of open discussion in the community.
So while there might be some inefficiencies, they've tried to minimize them.
Right, and often the benefits of decentralized governance outweigh the drawbacks.
In what way?
Well, by empowering the community, Mantle can tap into a huge pool of talent, ideas, and resources. This can lead to more innovative solutions and a stronger platform overall.
It's interesting how that commitment to decentralized governance is shaping Mantle's development.
Yeah, it aligns with the whole idea of crypto, where decentralization is so important.
It'll be interesting to see how their governance model changes as the project grows and the community expands.
For sure. And that brings us to another part of Mantle's strategy.
What's that?
Their focus on building a thriving ecosystem of dApps.
Okay, so they're not just focused on the network itself.
Right. They get that a successful layer 2 needs more than just fast, cheap transactions. It needs apps that people actually want to use.
So how are they getting developers to create these dApps?
Well, they have several initiatives.
Like what?
One is a $200 million eco-fund to support promising projects building on Mantle.
Okay, so they're putting their money where their mouth is.
Exactly. And that fund gives money and guidance to help these projects succeed.
That's a big investment. It shows they're serious about fostering innovation.
It does. And they're not just handing out cash. They're very involved in ecosystem development.
In what way?
They've partnered with experienced teams to create what they call showcase applications just for Mantle.
Can you give us an example?
Yeah, Merchant MO, the decentralized exchange we mentioned.
Okay.
Mantle worked with the team behind Trader Joe's, a successful DX on Avalanche, to create that. So they're bringing a proven DX model to Mantle.
So they're using the experience of existing projects to kickstart their own DApp ecosystem.
Exactly, and it's not just about DXs. They're focused on other key parts of DeFi.
Like what?
Lending and borrowing platforms, stablecoins, yield farming protocols.
So they're aiming to create a full DeFi ecosystem on Mantle.
That's the goal.
Okay.
They want to offer users everything they need for DeFi, all while taking advantage of Mantle's fast, cheap transactions.
Focusing on DeFi is smart. It's one of the most exciting areas of crypto with huge growth potential.
It is, and by becoming a leading platform for DeFi, Mantle could attract a ton of users and really boost demand for MNT.
But they're not just focused on DeFi, are they?
No, they're also exploring other uses for Mantle.
Like what?
Things like gaming, NFTs, and decentralized social media.
So they're keeping their options open.
Right. They know that crypto is always changing and they want to be ready for new trends and opportunities.
That forward-thinking approach is encouraging.
It is.
It suggests that Mantle's in it for the long haul, not just quick profits.
Right. Their effort to build a diverse ecosystem could be key to competing with other layer twos.
It's clear that the team is working hard to make Mantle a big player in the crypto world.
Yeah.
But they face challenges, especially from established competitors with bigger ecosystems and more users.
Definitely the layer 2 space is getting crowded, and Mantle needs to stand out to attract users and developers.
So what makes them different? What sets them apart?
Well, we talked about a few things already. Strong financial backing from Bybit, their focus on community governance, and building that strong dApp ecosystem.
Those are all important, but are there any technical advantages?
Yeah, one is their modular design.
Okay, we touched on that earlier, but remind me how that benefits developers and users.
So imagine you're a developer building a decentralized exchange on Mantle.
Okay.
You might need specific components for things like order matching, liquidity pools, and settlement. With Mantle's modular design, you can choose the best components for each of those functions instead of being stuck with a one-size-fits-all solution.
So it's like building with Legos.
Exactly.
You pick the pieces you need.
This lets developers make more efficient and tailored applications, which means a better experience for users.
Are there other technical advantages?
Their use of optimistic rollups is a big one.
Okay, we mentioned them before, but explain how they work and why they matter for Mantle.
Sure. Optimistic rollups process transactions off-chain, so outside of the main Ethereum blockchain.
Okay.
This makes transactions much faster and cheaper because you're not limited by the main chain.
It's like an express lane for transactions.
And the optimistic part means the system assumes these off-chain transactions are legit.
Okay.
But if someone tries to cheat, there's a way to challenge it and reverse it back to the main chain.
So speed and efficiency, but still secure.
Exactly. And that's essential for a layer 2 like Mantle that wants to be seamless and easy to use.
So optimistic rollups plus the modular design give Mantle a strong base.
Yeah, those features along with their partnerships and community focus make them a real contender.
But it's early days.
Yeah.
The project's young and the competition's tough.
Right. Time will tell if Mantle can deliver and get widely adopted.
So before we move on, it's important for viewers to remember investing in Mantle or any crypto is risky.
Absolutely. Do your research, understand the project, and know your risk tolerance.
Now let's talk about Mantle's approach to liquid staking.
Okay.
It's a fairly new idea in crypto.
Yeah, but it's gaining traction fast, and Mantle's leading the charge.
Explain liquid staking. What is it and why is it so popular?
With regular staking, you lock up your crypto to help secure a blockchain and earn rewards.
Okay.
But the problem is your assets are illiquid while staked. You can't trade them or use them in other DeFi applications.
So you're trading liquidity for rewards.
Exactly. Liquid staking fixes this with a tokenized version of your staked assets.
Okay.
These tokens, called liquid staking derivatives, can be traded or used in DeFi protocols.
So you get the best of both worlds.
Exactly. You can earn staking rewards and still use your assets.
And Mantle is doing something interesting here, right?
Right. They've made their own liquid staking derivative called EMF.
METH. So it's like liquid Ethereum.
Kind of. When you stake your ETH on Mantle, you get METH.
Okay.
This METH represents your staked ETH, and you can use it in different DeFi apps on Mantle.
So it's more flexible than just holding staked ETH.
Right. You can trade ETH on exchanges, use it as collateral for loans, or even use it for yield farming.
It opens up a lot of options.
It does, and that's why Mantle's approach to liquid staking is getting a lot of attention.
But are there risks with liquid staking derivatives like METH?
There are always risks with DeFi.
Such as?
One is that the value of the liquid staking derivative might not perfectly track the underlying asset.
So if the price of ETH drops a lot,
Mm-hmm.
F might not follow it exactly.
Right. Okay.
Well, what other risks?
Smart contract vulnerabilities.
Okay.
Like any DeFi protocol, liquid staking relies on smart contracts, and if there's a bug in the code, hackers could exploit it.
So people need to check the security of any platform before using it.
Definitely. Audits and a good security track record are important.
How does Mantle deal with security?
Their smart contracts have been audited by reputable firms,
Okay.
and they have strong security measures to protect funds.
That's good to hear.
Mm.
But users should always do their own research and understand the risks before using any DeFi product, including liquid staking.
Agreed. Now let's look closer at Mantle's liquid staking platform specifically.
Okay, what are some of the key features?
One is that it's easy to use.
Okay,
Staking ETH and getting ETH is simple, even for DeFi newbies.
that's important if they want a lot of users.
Yeah, and it's easy to unstake too. No long waiting period like some other platforms.
More control for users, I like that.
Another benefit is potentially higher returns than traditional staking.
How so?
Since you can use ETH in other DeFi apps, you can earn additional yield.
Oh, so it's like compounding your returns.
Kind of, you're getting rewards on your staked ETH and then using ETH to earn even more.
That's a good deal for users.
And they also have a reward system that encourages long-term participation.
What kind of system?
If you lock up your MNT for a while, you can earn Cook tokens.
Cook tokens.
Yeah, those will be used to govern Mantle's liquid staking platform. It's another reason to hold MNT and be involved.
So they reward loyal users and encourage them to participate.
Exactly, and this focus on community is one of the things that makes Mantle different.
It seems like they put a lot of work into creating their liquid staking platform.
They have. It's a big part of their plan to get users and developers onto Mantle.
It'll be interesting to see how it develops as the project matures.
For sure. It's something to watch if you're interested in DeFi and the future of Ethereum.
Now let's talk about something else Mantle's doing. Experimenting with more complex, potentially higher yield DeFi apps.
Yeah, that's an area worth exploring.
So they're not just sticking to the basics.
Right. While they've focused on core DeFi like exchanges and lending, they're also willing to try new, riskier things.
Give me an example.
One is CMETH, a more complex liquid staking derivative based on ETH.
CMETH. How's that different from regular ETH?
CMETH uses leverage, which can boost returns but also increase risk.
Leverage. What does that mean here?
Leverage basically lets you amplify your potential gains by borrowing funds.
Okay.
You use those borrowed funds to increase your exposure to an asset, but it also magnifies losses if the market moves against you.
Higher risk, higher reward.
Exactly. That's CMETH in a nutshell. More potential gains than METH, but more risk too.
So how does CMETH actually work?
When you stake ETH for CMETH, part of your ETH is used as collateral to borrow more ETH.
Okay.
And that borrowed ETH is then staked to generate more rewards.
So you're borrowing against your staked ETH to increase your returns.
Right, and that's the leverage part. How much you can borrow depends on the leverage ratio, which you can adjust based on how much risk you're comfortable with.
Higher leverage, more potential reward, but more risk.
Exactly. That's why CMETH is considered a more advanced, risky product than METH.
It's cool to see them trying these more sophisticated things.
Yeah.
It shows they're not just happy with basic services. They want to innovate and push the boundaries of DeFi.
It does, and that willingness to experiment could help them in the long run as DeFi keeps evolving.
But we have to remember, these experiments are risky.
For sure.
CMETH is new and hasn't been fully tested.
Right. So users should be careful and do their research before using any DeFi product with leverage or complex features.
It's so important to understand those risks and rewards.
Yeah, absolutely. And this brings us to a discussion about Mantle's overall strategy for their DeFi ecosystem.
Okay, so beyond ME and CMETH, what's their big picture plan?
They're not just building their own DeFi apps.
Okay.
They're also actively trying to get other projects to build on Mantle.
So it's a team effort.
Exactly. They get that a healthy DeFi ecosystem needs variety, and they can't do it all themselves.
So how are they attracting these other projects?
Incentives and support.
Like what?
Oh, we mentioned the Eco Fund. That's money. But they also provide technical help, mentoring, and marketing to help projects succeed.
So they're really nurturing these projects to make sure they do well.
Yeah, and it's working. Mantle is attracting a lot of high-quality DeFi projects.
Like what kinds of projects?
All kinds. Decentralized exchanges, lending platforms, stablecoin issuers, yield aggregators.
I'm bringing a lot of ground.
They are, and that variety is key to attracting users and making a strong, lasting ecosystem.
It's good to see this much happening in Mantle's DeFi ecosystem.
Yeah, it shows they're moving in the right direction
Yeah.
and that their work to attract developers is paying off.
And all of this activity could drive demand for MNT as more DeFi apps start using it.
Exactly. Something to keep in mind if you're thinking about investing.
So we've looked at Mantle's technology, team, community, DeFi ecosystem, and more. Now let's step back and think about investing in Mantle overall.
Okay, good idea.
As with any crypto, there are risks.
Right. The market is unpredictable and there's no guarantee of success.
What are the key things investors should think about when considering Mantle?
The competition is a big one.
Okay.
We know Mantle's up against some strong layer 2s with bigger ecosystems.
So can Mantle find its place and get enough users to thrive?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another thing is the team.
Okay.
We know they have experience, but investors should look at their past work, their vision, and their ability to get things done.
They need to be able to handle whatever comes their way.
Absolutely. Then there's the technology itself.
Okay.
We've talked about their modular design, optimistic roll-ups, and focus on DeFi. Investors need to decide if those things are enough to make Mantle stand out.
It's not just about the tech, though, right?
No, you need a good team, a clear vision, and a solid plan.
And the overall global economy plays a role, too.
Right.
We talked about how inflation and interest rates could be good for crypto, but investors need to be prepared for volatility.
Definitely. Crypto is unpredictable.
Any crypto investment needs a long-term view and a willingness to ride out the ups and downs.
I agree. Let's try to pull all this together and give our viewers some takeaways to help them decide about investing in Mantle.
Good idea. Where do we start?
Let's start with the good stuff.
Okay.
Mantle has a lot going for it. Strong financial backing, a talented team, a great community, and a growing DeFi ecosystem. They have good technology, and they're actively attracting developers and users.
Sounds promising.
It is, but there are risks.
Of course.
The competition is tough, and we don't know if Mantle can get enough users to become a major player. And the crypto market is volatile, no guarantee that MNT will go up in value.
So, as with any investment, there are pros and cons.
Exactly. And the decision to invest in Mantle is a personal one.
Right.
It depends on your situation, your risk tolerance, and your investment goals.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But before we finish, let's answer a question we get a lot. Can Mantle disrupt the Ethereum ecosystem?
That's a tough one to answer for sure.
Okay.
Ethereum is massive and always changing.
So we can't know for sure how Mantle will impact it.
Right. But we can look at some trends to get an idea. One is the growing need for scalability solutions.
Because Ethereum is getting more congested and expensive.
Exactly. This is why layer 2 solutions like Mantle are needed.
And Mantle is well placed to take advantage of this.
They are. Their use of optimistic rollups, their focus on DeFi, and their relationship with Bybit put them in a good position.
So Mantle has a chance to become a big player in the layer 2 space and maybe even disrupt Ethereum.
They do, but we have to remember that Ethereum itself is changing too.
Right, they're working on their own scaling solutions.
Exactly. Things like sharding could make layer 2 solutions less necessary in the future.
So it's a race against time for Mantle and other layer 2s.
Yeah, they need to get established before Ethereum solutions are ready.
It's an exciting time, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Me too. As we wrap up, here's a final thought.
Okay.
Crypto is still very young. There will be surprises, and we can't know which projects will win or lose.
That's what makes it so interesting.
Exactly. That's why it's crucial to have a long-term view,
Right.
be a little skeptical, and be ready to learn and change as the market changes.
Good advice. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Mantle Network.
You're welcome.
We hope you found it helpful.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into Mantle Network, exploring its technology, its team, its ecosystem, and its potential for growth and disruption.
We've also highlighted the competitive landscape, the inherent risks of the crypto market, and the importance of conducting thorough research before making any investment decisions.
Now, as we wrap up this discussion, I want to circle back to the key question we posed at the beginning. Is MNT a worthy investment for crypto investors?
That's the million-dollar question, and as we've seen throughout this deep dive, there's no easy answer.
You've presented compelling arguments, both for and against investing in MNT, highlighting its strengths, such as its strong financial backing, its innovative technology, and its growing DeFi ecosystem.
But we've also raised valid concerns about the competitive landscape, the reliance on Ethereum's success, and the inherent volatility of the crypto market.
After considering all of these factors, I have to admit, my initial optimism has been tempered somewhat.
I understand. It's easy to get caught up in the hype surrounding a promising project like Mantle, but it's crucial to maintain a balanced perspective and to weigh the potential rewards against the risks.
You've definitely helped me to do that, and I'm now leaning towards a more cautious approach.
I think that's wise. Mantle has a lot of potential, but it's still early days and there are many unknowns.
So for investors considering MNT, what would be your key piece of advice?
My advice would be to do your own research. Don't just rely on what you hear from others. Dig into the project's white paper, explore their website, read articles and analyses from reputable sources.
And most importantly,
don't invest more than you can afford to lose.
Absolutely. Crypto investments are inherently risky, and it's essential to approach them with a clear understanding of the potential downsides.
Well said.
This deep dive has provided our viewers with a comprehensive overview of Mantle Network, its strengths, its weaknesses, its opportunities, and its challenges.
We've equipped them with the knowledge and insights they need to make an informed investment decision.
And ultimately, that's what crypto analytica is all about, empowering our viewers to navigate the complex world of crypto with confidence.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We hope you found it valuable.
And be sure to subscribe to Crypto Analytica for more in-depth analyses of the most promising projects in the crypto space. We'll see you in the next episode.